In this session, we deal with very important graph algorithm that can be viewed as application of decrease and conquer, and the version is decrease by one technique. We are all familiar with notion of a graph. Its main varieties, that is undirected, directed and weighted graphs. The two principal representations of the graph, the adjacency matrix and the adjacency list. And we are also familiar with notions such as graph connectivity and acyclicity. If needed, my respected viewers are suggested to have a review of design and analysis of algorithms tutorial number 5. The first question that is to be posed is, what is this DFS algorithm? Depth first search algorithm. And there is another algorithm with the same tune called breadth first search algorithm. So in the second version, in the next video, we will bring about breadth first search algorithm. For the current explanation, we take up DFS algorithm. It is aptly called as DFS algorithm. DFS algorithm and BFS algorithm have one thing in common. They are the algorithms used to traverse over a graph. By traversing over a graph, we mean by walking over a graph, or by making a computer to walk over a graph, making a computer to understand the graph. By traversing a graph, a computer will be able to elicit, are there any cycles in the graph? Is the graph acyclic? Is the graph directed? Is the graph undirected? Is there any articulation point in the graph? If at all there are cycles, how many cycles are present? Is the graph disjoint? Does the graph have connected component? All these questions can be easily answered by traversing over a graph. Therefore, DFS algorithm will pave the way for traversing a graph. It is said in the literature that the best known rule for traversing a maze means some kind of a complicated path configuration. Okay, it is under the notion that if anybody wants to achieve some kind of a goal, he has to traverse a tortuous path. Okay, it represents tortuous path. Somehow he will be able to reach his goal. Okay, he will be able to meet it. And we will see in Sunday newspapers, it is kept as a challenge, okay, for small kids to attend this. And there will be a mouse waiting over here, and there is a meat. The mouse is very hungry, rat is very hungry, it has to traverse over this, crossing all the barricades and finding a smooth path. This is a maze. Okay, the best known rule for traversing a maze is the wall follower. We have to follow along the wall. And it is very important to note that in a maze there is a darkness. In fact, DFS can be considered as a generalization of an ancient right-hand rule for maze traversal. That is, go through the maze in such a way that your right hand is always touching the wall, so that it will guide you as to how to proceed. In the case of a barricade, you can take back. You can just retract. Okay, whenever you meet the dead end, something like this, you can come back. Okay, that is called as retracing. Similar procedure is adopted in DFS algorithm also. Whenever the algorithm meets the dead end, it will come back, it will retract. And we will just explain the step-by-step procedure involved in implementing DFS. DFS algorithm selects a vertex at random and marks it with a number one for having visited. Okay, in the event of vertices being named by using alphabetical indexes like A, B, C, D, okay, then the first selection happens to be the alphabetically superior label, that is A. If at all the vertices are numbered with 1, 2, 3, 4, the first selection will be normally 1. Anyway, after selecting the first vertex, it will mark it as 1 for having visited. On each iteration, it proceeds to unvisited vertex that is directly connected to the one which is currently in. Let us say if the algorithm is in A, it will look around A and it will just will move to any directly connected vertex. If there are several vertices, let us say for a vertex which is algorithm is thinking, then the algorithm breaks the tie by selecting alphabetically superior labeled vertex. Let us say if A is the vertex and B is also directly connected, C is also directly connected, and some F is directly connected, then automatically the DFS will move towards B, because B is alphabetically superior when compared to all other vertices. The process continues until the dead end, that is a vertex with no unvisited vertex, is reached. Okay. At the end, at the dead end, the algorithm will backtrack. It has to do justifiably one end up to reach the previous vertex it came from. There again it stops for a while, looks around. If at all any vertex is there, it will visit, and once again it will backtrack. It looks around for any unvisited vertex from there. If there are any, it visits them recursively. The algorithm halts after backing up to the starting vertex. At this point, all the vertices in the same connected component of the graph have been visited. Okay, if the graph were to be something like this, okay, it will select A first, then it will move to B, then it will come to C. At C, it will face the dead end. Then it backtracks to B. Okay, it will look around. There is only one edge which is already visited. It will come back to A, so it completes its circuit. Okay, all the vertices have been visited, but surprisingly, since the algorithm will always move along with hand in hand with adjacency matrix or adjacency list, it will come to know that there are still vertices to be visited. Once again, this algorithm will be implemented, re-implemented, okay, and it will choose D, and it will continue to E, it will come to G, it will come to F, and it will close. Okay, if unvisited vertices still remain, something like a, so this is a, so the ABC is a graph, and DEFG, DEGF, or EFGH, DEFG, it's a connected component. This is a connected component for this particular graph. And if there were to be another graph over here, they become disjoint graph. Okay, algorithm inducts a stack while traversing. Okay, it will induct. So while implementing DFS computationally, a stack must be there, and adjacency matrix is there, because adjacency matrix itself will represent the graph proper. Anyway, we cannot present a graph pictorially to a computer. That's it. When a vertex is visited, it is pushed into the stack. When met with a dead end, it pops the vertex which caused the dead end. I repeat, while pushing, when the algorithm visits a vertex, say A, it will push this vertex into the stack with its number, A1, it will write. And when it meets the dead end, say C is removed, and the algorithm backtracks, it will go to B will be removed. Okay, this is the first fellow to be removed from the stack. This is the second fellow to be removed from the stack, that is popped from the stack. Okay, visiting is associated with pushing, and dead end is associated with pushing. Okay, with this we will continue. We will take up examples, and we will just implement the algorithm later on. So here is a graph which has a connected component by name FGHJ, and this is also a graph. Totally it is called as a graph. Anyway, you know graph will come with a vertex set and an edge set. Technically speaking, a graph is a binary relationship between any two nodes selected at random and whether it is connected or not. If it is connected, 1 will be figuring out. If it is not connected, 0 will be figuring out in the adjacency matrix. Okay, now we will take this, okay, and we will literally implement the algorithm. Okay, you slowly follow me. Okay, right. First of all, it has to visit A. Because that is alphabetically superior. A. It will visit A. It will look around. The algorithm will look around. It finds C and D directly connected. Anyway, C is alphabetically superior. Then it will visit C. So next visit is C. Okay, as soon as it visits A, it will have marked this A as 1, and it will push to the stack. Okay, stack, we will also write stack side by side. So A is the first candidate to be pushed into the stack, and C is the second candidate to be pushed into the stack. Then it will go to D, that is the next vertex that it can touch upon. So this is D, it will go to D, and D will be pushed into the stack. So D is the third candidate or third vertex to be inside the stack. Now it meets the dead end. So D is the dead end. Okay, it cannot find any other vertex. Okay, when it looks at A is already visited. When it looks at C is already visited. Therefore it will backtrack. It will go back. It will go back. Okay, before it goes back, D is removed. Okay, D is the first fellow to go out of the stack. D is the first fellow to be pushed out of the stack. Then it will come to C. Okay, C is connected to E. C is connected to E. C is connected to E. So E will be pushed into the stack. So E is the fourth fellow to enter into the stack. Then it will go to B. From E it will reach B. Okay. B is the fifth fellow to enter into the stack. At B it meets the dead end, because from B no other vertices is connectable. Therefore B is removed from the stack. Okay, B is removed from the stack. Therefore this is the second one to go out of the stack. From here the algorithm will backtrack. It will come to E. E is already marked, and it will stop at E for a while, and it will look around, and there is C and there is B which is directly attached, but all of them have been already visited. Therefore E is also removed. So it is the third fellow, it is the third vertex to go out of this stack. Then it will come to C. It will backtrack to C, okay, only to find that C is already visited, and there are no other vertices that are connected to C which have been unvisited. So this is the fourth fellow to go out of the stack. Then it will come to A, from where the algorithm started, and A, all the other vertices have been visited. Therefore even A is also removed. But astonishingly, the algorithm will find still some entries in the adjacency list, adjacency matrix. Okay, therefore it will start once again. It will implement the algorithm once again. Algorithm is once again implemented, and it will start from EFGH. From F it will start. Okay, the stack is completely over. Okay, stack is empty. Okay, so I have to start from here. So now it is the vertex F which is to be the starting point. Okay, vertex F is actually the sixth vertex to enter into the stack. Okay, from F it will move to G. It can move to G or it can move to J. It has to move to G only because G is alphabetically superior. So it will come to G. Okay, it will come to G. So G is the seventh vertex to enter into the stack. Then it will go to H. It will go to H. H is the eighth one to enter into the stack. Then it will come to J. Okay, H and J. At J it finds some kind of a deadlock. Once again it back traverses and removes J. It just pops off J. J9. Okay, so J is the sixth fellow to go out of the stack. This is the seventh one, this is the eighth one, and this is the ninth one. And all the adjacency matrix will have been cleared up at this point of time. Therefore the algorithm halts. Okay, interestingly we can see so this direct edges, the dark edges are called as tree edges, and we can find some kind of a DFS forest. Okay, as the algorithm progresses, it also generates DFS tree. Here is a DFS tree, this is a DFS tree, there are two DFS tree. That means the stack has been implemented twice, therefore this forms DFS forest. Okay, so generation of DFS forest itself is an indication of the graph being the graph possessing what is called as a connected component. This is the connected component. Anyway, stack is also implemented twice. There is an indication. and we can connect A to C here, sorry, A to D over here by dotted lines, A to D over here. Since it is an undirected graph, we can directly connect like this in dotted lines, and we can also connect A to B. We can also connect A to B. No, A to E. A to E. Okay, these are all called as back edges. The dotted lines are called as back edges, and back edges will indicate a loop. Back edges will indicate a loop. Oh no, this can be taken out. Okay, sorry, there is nothing like writing A to E, because there exists no loop as such. Okay, but here a loop exists. How can you trace this loop? A to D, D to C, C to A, or A to C, C to D, D to A. So that is the thing. And here exactly, once again, in this connected component also, there exists a back edge. You can trace it over here. Okay, you can connect like this, but this is not the way when we applied the DFS algorithm, but there is a connectionality between D and J, F and J, which is discernible from the adjacency matrix. Therefore, there exists a loop between F and J. Okay, it could be F, J, H, G, F, or F, G, H, J, F. So there are two loops that exist, and the graph has a connected component. These two properties, and there is no articulation point as such. Okay, this is how DFS is implemented. Okay, DFS will go along with the generation of DFS tree or DFS forest, as the case may be, and also the stack. Okay, stack has double ordering. Okay, you should notice over here the first ordering represents when exactly, okay, it entered into the stack, and the second ordering represents when exactly it left the stack. Okay, this is yet another example. We can do it a little quickly. Okay, starting point is naturally A. A is selected. A is put into the stack. A1, okay, is the first fellow. This is the stack, DFS stack. It's called as DFS stack. A1 is entered. Then once again, we can go to either B or C. So B is the natural selection because that is alphabetically superior label. So B, it will go to B. So B2 is the second vertex. B, from B it can go to F or it can go to D. D is the selection. It has to go to D. Okay, D is the third vertex to enter into the stack, and from D it has to go naturally to F. So F forms dead end. So F4. So it will backtrack from here. Okay, it will see for possible vertices starting from D, but it cannot find. All the other vertices have been attended. Therefore, F will be removed. Then D will also be removed in the same token. D will also be removed. Then it will go to B. Okay, B should also be removed. Okay, so this is the third one to go out of the stack. It will come to A. But from at A, C is connected. So it will move towards C. Okay. So C will enter into the stack. So it will enter this particular location. So this is the fifth vertex to enter into the stack. From C, it can go to G. Okay, it will go to G. So G is the sixth fellow to enter into this stack. G6, and E is the last one. It will go to E. Okay, E is the seventh vertex. At E, it finds the deadlock, that is removed. So this is the fourth one that is popped off. This is the fifth one. This is the sixth one, and finally it will go to A, and A is also be removed. A will also be removed. So that's how DFS algorithm. And here there is no forest at all. Therefore, there is no connected component. Okay, it's a whole graph. It's a whole graph. This is called as DFS tree. DFS tree. Okay, you can connect F to D, B to F here by dotted line. Okay, this is a back edge, and you can also connect C to A, C to E. So there are two back edges. Okay, you can also connect F to E. F to E. Where is it? F to E. So there are three cycles: F, E, G, C, A, B, D, F. B, B, F, D, B. Okay, C, G, E, C. These are all the vertices. These are all the cycles present in the graph. Therefore, DFS reveals. But anyway, starting from the starting vertex, okay, DFS will take a long length, long route. This is a very important difference between. It marks as one of the important differences between DFS and BFS. We have to travel for a long distance from the home. Therefore, it is said DFS is for the brave. DFS is for the brave, and we will see what exactly the word is coined against BFS. Okay, we will just do that whenever we visit the BFS algorithm. Example 4, example 3. So DFS is also applicable for directed graphs. It's a typically directed acyclic graph. You should note that over here there are no cycles, but still, okay, it will visit 1 first because this is numerically superior. So 1 will go to the stack. Okay, 1, 1. This is the first fellow to enter into the stack. So it meets the deadlock. So 1 is removed. The first fellow to go out of the stack. Then it has to go to 2. Okay, freshly it is to be implemented once again. 2, it will go to vertex 2. So 2, it is the second fellow to enter into the stack. 2, and from 2 nowhere the algorithm can move. Therefore this fellow will also be pushed, okay, popped out of the stack. Then it has to go to 3. It has to choose 3. Okay, this is the third fellow to enter into the stack. And once again it is a dead end. From 3 you can move to 1, but anyway the algorithm can move to 1, but anyway 1 is already visited. It can move to 2, but 2 is already visited. Then once again it restarts. Okay, it is implemented. 4 will enter into the stack as the fourth. Okay, this is the third fellow to leave the stack, and this is the fourth fellow to leave the stack. Okay, this is how it is implemented. Okay, 1, 2, okay, 3, 4. You will find some kind of isolated vertices. Okay, so this is a directed acyclic graph with components. 1 is a component, 2 is a component, 3 is a component, and 4 is a component. Right, and we will write the algorithm now. Algorithm DFS. Okay, the input for this algorithm is the graph. When we say graph is the input, and we have to give the algorithm graph the set of vertices as well as set of edges that will come readily available in the form of adjacency matrix. We should remember this. It implements DFS on a given graph. Okay, what it does. Input is a graph which is a set of vertices and edges. Output, it's a graph once again with its vertices marked with consecutive integers in order they have been first visited by the graph traversal algorithm. Yeah. Mark each vertex V, each vertex in the set V consisting of all the vertices with 0 for having not visited yet. This is some kind of an initialization. All the vertices have been marked with, all the vertices available in the vertex set is all marked with 0 for having not visited. Then there is a setup of what is called as a global variable called count. Count is set to 0. Okay, now a for loop will start for each vertex V. for each vertex V in V, each vertex V means it could be A, it could be B, it could be C, or it could be 1. For each vertex V in V, do. V means this is the set involving or including all the vertices. Do. If V is marked with 0, if V is marked with 0, okay, count equal to 0. For each vertex V in V, do. If V is marked with 0, you call another algorithm called DFSV. Okay, this is a sub algorithm. Okay, something like a sub function. Okay, wherein we will be sending A. We will be sending any vertex where the algorithm is currently in. Okay, now this is written over here. So this particular main algorithm will call this algorithm again and again, some kind of recursively. Of course, this algorithm, sub algorithm, visits recursively all the unvisited vertices connected to V by a path and numbers them in the order they are encountered via a global variable called count. So what this particular algorithm does is, it visits all the vertices respectively in the order, recursively rather, and numbers, as soon as it visits, it numbers that particular vertex with a serial number, sequential number for having visited through a global variable count. Okay, count equal to count plus 1, because it is already visited small v, that is A, it could be B, it could be C, it could be 1. Okay, it will be marked with count. Then mark V with count. Okay, for each vertex W, small w it is actually, lowercase w in V, this is yet another vertex which is directly connected to V. Okay, this may be B directly connected to A, this may be 2 directly connected to 1. Okay, W in V adjacent to V, do. If W is marked with 0, then once again call the algorithm and send W as the parameter. Once again it will do. So it will be marked with 1. Mark W with count. Okay, count would have become 2 by then. For each vertex, maybe Z in V adjacent to W, do. Okay, if W is marked with 0, if the another vertex, say Z is marked with 0, DFSZ, something like this. Okay, if you verify the complexity of DFS algorithm, okay, development of adjacency matrix itself is the complexity, because when you develop the adjacency matrix, you need to run 2 for loops. Okay, for I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. For j equal to 0, j less than n, j plus plus. Here n means number of vertices. Okay, you have to ask the user, is A connected to A? Is A connected to B? Is A connected to C? Something like this. Okay, so first of all, the outer for loop will let the vertices one by one to be queried by the user to enter whether it is connected to other vertices. Therefore, most of the time is taken by the development of adjacency matrix itself. If at all, the graph is represented by adjacency matrix. Okay, when do we prefer adjacency matrix? If the graph is fully connected, with most of the entries to be equal to 1, then adjacency matrix is to be preferred. On the other hand, if the graph happens to be sparse with few number of ones, more number of zeros, then adjacency list is the best. And when you take up adjacency list, then the complexity will become a big theta of cardinality of V plus cardinality of E, because it involves only linear data structure. A single for loop will be able to do the magic. But here 2 for loops have to run, each and every for loop with the extremity up to number of vertices. So with this, we have come to the end of a DFS algorithm. If we recall our whatever that we have discussed, okay, DFS algorithm is applied in order to make a traversal of the graph. DFS traversal will go for a long way from the home, that is from the starting matrix. Okay, whenever it encounters the dead end, it backtracks. Whenever it encounters the dead end, it will be removed from the stack. Whenever it visits a vertex, it will be entered into the stack. Okay, the pushing will take place whenever the encounters a vertex. Whenever it leaves a vertex, because owing to that particular vertex becoming the dead end, it will be removed from the stack. Okay, and this is a very important algorithm because it has wide number of applications. Okay, wide number of applications. With this we will conclude this particular session. Okay, next session is on BFS. Until then, bye.